Hello, everyone. This is Toad Sage with the group BRT. We're doing a Finding My Way first episode here this season with our member LigaM. Um, all right, so we're going to go into this episode and pretty much do an introduction, look at what charts he's looking at, what his setups are at the moment, um, and figure out. Ultimate goal is to by the end of our 10 weeks or by some 8 weeks in, we'll have a grade A and grade B setup. So that's like the end goal, but we're going to start off with psychology, right? And trading rules, fundamentals, the system he's looking at, look at his background, everything like that. Our goal is to one of the most important, probably the most important thing that I've discovered for myself, at least, is that emotion is in psychology and just making the right decisions each day is most important. So yeah, we're gonna get into all that. We've got pretty good itinerary looking to do this meeting. So yeah, we'll start off with introduce LigaM here. What charts are you looking at here? Um, and what setups do you usually trade? Is this the chart you usually trade on the 5 minute? What you got going on here on your trading view?
What's up, guys? So, Liga here. And yeah, so I try to trade at least the 5 and the 15. I've been looking at the 30 and like some of the higher time frames a little bit more now, especially like just being with you guys for the last month. Um, and I've been trying to also like before the day actually starts or maybe the night before or something, or even on the weekend, do some like top-down analysis. So maybe look at like the weekly real quick and the daily, just kind of see like if there's a trend, mark off any points of interest, right? Any like crazy support, crazy resistance. And then I generally like during the day I would look at primarily the 15 and the 5. Semper's been talking about the 30 a lot recently, so I've been trying to keep my eyes on there too. There was a small period of time a few weeks ago I was trying to pull trades off the 1 minute. But as my research kind of led me to believe, I probably shouldn't be trading off the one minute.
Okay.
So that's in a nutshell the charts I look at. In terms of like strategy or indicators, I mean I follow the general SMAs, EMA that Brandon and them use. I don't totally have a good grasp on how to use them yet. I've been following them and kind of seeing how the candlesticks interact with them.
Right.
Previously I've used MAs like crossovers and stuff, but I've really tried to like get away from using too many indicators in the past. I felt like they kind of threw me off. So I started following a lot of Brandon stuff. Of course, you guys know I'm close with Dell, so he kind of put me on a Brandon. I watched a few of his videos,
Yep.
followed some of his stuff on X, and just trying to learn to fib indicators, price action, support resistance,
Mhm.
understand like liquidity, of course, and everything in between.
Right.
I don't usually use like MACD, RSI, VWAP, all that stuff. I definitely have looked at them. I've definitely learned them per se to a certain extent, but not to a point where I'm comfortable like using them as like confluences or anything of that nature.
Okay. That all makes sense. I think yeah, there's first, I mean, Brandon is a killer trader. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Definitely he's the BRT NQ trading mentor, trading the most of the futures with BRT, and definitely, I mean, he's there every day. Um, I'd highly recommend, I mean, watching his Zoom and just picking up on. He has a certain style of trading though. And you might realize you do or don't resonate with that style, but you definitely will learn a lot. I think the so you've got that, it sounds like with a 30-minute chart. Um, so you're looking at large support and resistance. I mean, that makes sense. I actually don't do that as much. So that might be new to me. I don't exactly look too much at. I'm pretty in the kind of zoomed in, but we're talking about you here. So I think the MA system definitely with like MAs and indicators. I think you'll learn like there almost is no. in my opinion, one indicator that is crazy good. I mean, you've got so the RSI. Every indicator has its like specialty, right? So you've got the RSI that can show you like a lot. So overbought and or oversold, underbought, whatever. Oversold, overbought. There's that, but I don't worry about that too much. But you got the divergences on RSI, and then you got the upper and lower channels, and on the MACD too, you got divergence, you got upper lower channels, you got cross, and then the moving averages though, what you use. I mean, I think through watching Brandon and through looking at the moving averages, it's kind of like I don't believe. I mean, um, when I'm not worried about too much of my beliefs, but I think it's pretty true that. You see the price will interact with your moving average. You'll get some intuition based on it. If you watch Brandon, you'll see how he uses the moving averages. The 10 and the 50 when they cross, you go for that's like a shorter term trend, 10, 50 cross, back test to 50 sort of thing. Um, and a lot of stuff like that. And then like, the 100 for trend, the slope of them and everything. But I mean, how long have you been uh trading? What have you been looking at before futures? Because it sounds like you at least know a pretty good bit. I mean, you've got a functioning trading view chart with a bunch of levels and fibs and stuff.
So I I do a good job at watching and reading stuff and then like acting, I guess you could say. I'll say acting, but trying to do it and of
Yeah.
course not being very good at it. But I would say my trading career started when I was like 17. So I'm 35 now, just to kind of put that in perspective.
Okay.
But no consistency there. So like when I was like 16 or 17, the idea of trading stocks and like penny options and what's his face? I can't remember that guy that was on that TV show, but he traded penny options in Manhattan, and I thought that was the coolest thing
Okay.
for a living. But anyway, so I tried trading forex when I was real young, like before you could even like do it or you were allowed to do it. I probably studied Baby Pip's website for like 6 months, and I failed over and over again. Leveraging $100 100 times doesn't really work. And yeah, and then when I was like 21, 22, I tried to do the same thing. And it was like, a year at a clip. Like I would on and off like try to trade for a year with like a little bit of money and I would fail multiple times and then just quit. So circa forward like 10 years and I tried doing options again a few years ago. I went really hard into it. I was following these guys, Wolves of Wealth. I actually subscribed to them for a few months. They're similar like structure to BRT. Like they it was like $100 a month, and they traded like almost kind of like a modified orb strategy. They would trade like previous days high, previous days low, overnight high and low, and they were options. They weren't futures. So I really got like options seemed like the better way to go than like trying to trade forex or stocks or crypto.
Yeah.
So I tried to learn options really hard. Nothing crazy. I like you know, credit spreads and all that stuff were like way over my head. I was just like, I'm trading straight up puts and calls, and I did it for a while, and I definitely blew a few accounts, and like I'm talking like real money accounts, not like
Yeah.
props or anything. Um, I probably did that for a few months at most, and then I stopped. I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I got to take a break. And then earlier this year, I started again with options. I probably studied and tried to trade options for about 5 or 6 months. Took a little bit of a break and then I was like kind of thinking about doing futures for a few months. I just like researched it. And then when I became close friends with Dell earlier this year, he was kind of like, you should definitely jump into futures. So I started really kind
Yeah.
of putting my head into the futures thing. And so I would say I've been on futures now for the good side of like 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Um, in terms of like strategies and stuff, I've been all over the chart. That's why I'm on Brandon's now.
Okay.
Um, I've done everything. Like I tried trading like divergences. There's a guy that I follow that did a lot of like forever model like divergences where they were looking for fair market value gaps with divergences and like all that good stuff. And this kind of resonated with me the most. So that's kind of like
Oh,
where I landed. I think we spoke about it, but I really like I don't say exactly Brandon style trading, but I think it's more like I lean more to like GFX's type of like style where it's like looking for breaks of structure and stuff.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think JFX seemed cool from the videos I saw. It seemed like he, yeah, tries to go with the trend and look for large retracements to catch strong higher lows or lower highs, but I'd have to watch more. But that's like pretty fundamental. I think that's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I feel like everybody's lost. I mean, there's like you read the books and you listen to the stuff, and that all these people say that there is almost no trader that hasn't lost one or more fortunes on the way
Oh
to
yeah,
finding success.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I probably have like physical books because, YouTube like an '07 or '08 was still in its like infancy, but I probably have like four or five actual like physical trading books that I read through like so many times and it's just like I
right,
can't apply these strategies. They don't work.
right.
Little did I know, like it took a lot more than just doing it, It was a little more than that, but yeah, so here I am.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, well, futures is a great idea. It's the closest thing to, I mean, you get to trade. It's like trading equities. You get to actually trade as if you're just trading the chart. You don't have to worry about all the other crap. The, the gamma, alpha, beta, gamma, theta, delta, epsilon crap. You don't have to worry about any of that. You get to just trade the chart. Um, all right, cool. I mean, yeah, and I think 3 or 4 months on futures. I mean, once you get used to trading the chart, figure out your style. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, making it can take a lot of traders 2 years. 1 year is quick. If you follow all the rules and you pay attention to yourself and you journal and you stick with the system so you can learn it and get it inside, know it inside and out. I mean, you can be profitable within a year. Otherwise, maybe two, but you'll see. Um, You'll figure it out. And all right, so what recent results do you have? Any account at the moment? Are you trading live? Are you trading with props? Are you trading with a cash account? What's your like last 2 weeks performance?
Props only right now. I started out okay, I would say. I was trading 25K accounts with Funded Next.
Yeah,
And then I finally got one of them like funded out of the challenge and then I blew it. I got one payout and then I blew it.
really?
So yeah. So I actually just accounted it to stroke of luck. Because I really wasn't trading with any rules. Like I had zero rules, zero strat. Like I was just trading based off chart, like looking at it, levels, like breaking. Like I just, yeah. I was definitely trading
Uh-huh.
with probably way too large of a size. Also, I was trading 10 micros. So, um,
25K. What's the drawdown on that? 1,500 or 2,000 for the 25?
1250.
Okay. I mean, arguably too much depending
Yeah.
on the stop, you know what I mean? A lot of
Yeah.
people like to take evals, hot and fast, you know what I mean? They risk uh recently I mean I had some 50Ks with the 2K drawdown. I was getting day after day many payouts. I had multiple of those just cycling through them. Um and then I came into some pretty heavy drawdown on those, probably some bad mentality. And then I picked up a heavier account just to like kind of, trade it on the side. I made plenty of money. I'll recycle it. And I find that I mean now I'm risking like 5% to 10% of the account per trade. And I'm rotating through the accounts, right? So then it's like you divide that if I'm risking 10, if I've got five accounts, I'm risking 10% of one account per one trade. Really, I'm risking, 2% of my total net. So it's like, I think you'll eventually probably get prudent like that. But I think for cheap accounts, you definitely have a lot of people that think you should just play them hot and fast, try to pass it in 3 days and then slow down for the funded. I mean,
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to do is I was like, all right, if I can, limit my stop loss to say like 250, 300, it's like 1%, and then try to go like for like a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 R and like I mean,
yeah,
there was days we hit days, right, where it was just straight up or straight down. We weren't going sideways. So
yeah,
definitely tempting. And then when you can just when you want to reset, right, it's not as much. So yeah.
yeah.
So I re-upped. I have a legacy account with them, and then I have a Tradeify account because I wanted to check out Project X.
Okay.
So I have a growth 50K Tradeify account. Yeah, growth 50 Tradeify account, but it's been mostly down. Like I haven't been doing quite as well. I don't know what I changed.
Yeah.
Definitely psychologically, like I definitely have a trader's revenge type attitude. I'm very competitive.
Sure.
I'm very much like, well, fuck, I missed it there, so I'm definitely gonna be able to do it here because I see it going doing this and like I'm learning. And
Uh-huh.
then I go to do it and it's like, no, 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 you're not. And then that's it. So, um,
100%.
yeah. So I'm not a profitable trader. It's the moral of the story.
Well, I mean, that's very few, to say that, to say the words profitable, there's like, consistent, there's like there's boom and busters, there's consistent, and then there's profitable. To be profitable, you got to cover the taxes, you got to cover your time, you got to be consistent. So it's a big tall order. Now, normally finding my way, people do start with sim accounts. Now, you've already been trading for a lot of years, so I mean, if you're going to trade an eval, you're going to do what you're going to do. But definitely, I'd recommend keeping size small. If you're already not doing well on the account, maybe try to. When you buy an account, you don't lose your investment. You buy a prop account, you don't lose your investment until you lose the account. So if you can go small and recover that account, and I think the tradeifys are a one-time purchase, so you don't have to worry. I think the funded next are a one-time purchase too, if I remember right. So you've got
Yeah.
no. They are
Yeah,
Yes, they are.
yeah, Funded
okay.
Next is a few of them actually are. And then Tradeify has a monthly on it, but it's not terrible. So
Okay. Oh yeah, tradeify. Yeah, I guess they do. Yeah. So I mean, maybe you can try to take that slow. What if you just got it last week? You still have 3 full trading weeks, so a big day here or there, and then a bunch of base hits. So, yeah, the goal would be to kind of standardize size. Start with what are you trading? MNQ,
yep.
right? So maybe start with like 2 micros. If you're really feeling confident or good, maybe 3. Um, that sort of thing, and then stick to your system. But we're going to talk about that. I mean, that's really the psychology in the system's the most important. I mean, size is just a management of the risk. Um, all right, so we looked at all of this, looked at your chart. I think the you should get into either first, I think your system here, or first the foundation of what's super important. I mean, there are three. If so I was thinking about what are the top 3 things traders should know if I could look back and tell myself. Um, this like a year ago. I think some things to think about as once we then start talking about your system and everything, is that one um kind of a sizing thing, a risk thing, in that trying to oversize and make things bigger to go faster uh will ultimately cost you way more in restarting. Right. So there are in the past, from my experience in the past, 18 months or so, there were many times where I sat there and I did a whole plan. I was like, if I could just make an average of 200 a day, just only 200 an average, um, that right there times X prop accounts, whatever. I mean, that right there is life-changing money in the course of 6 months. And then I have 2 or 3 or 4 days where I get a very nice head start because the $200 goal is small, considering I know how to trade. So I get a head start. I get multiple huge days. I'm making like 3x that goal. And then I try to go faster. And then suddenly in 2 weeks, I'm restarting. So it's like I got the head start. I got ahead. I'm looking good. And now I have to restart. And I should have just stayed small the whole time. So that's probably number one. Think for you to think about is just definitely the sizing. Um, the second one is you have to 100% be aware of my psychological perspective. Frame. It's anger particularly. And you said you revenge trade, so we probably have a similar big weakness there. So it's kind of perfect. Um, I think it can be awful. But first, actually, yeah, go ahead. Papa rocks. What's good? Oh, we can't hear you. I saw you unmuted, but I don't have any voice coming through. I'll continue while you figure that out.
There we
Oh,
go. Here we go. Guys,
oh, there
can
you
you
go.
now? All right.
Yes, I
Uh,
can.
what kind of sizing are you doing right now
For me or for LigaM?
for Ligum?
Yeah, so what kind of size? So are you still running that 10 micros? That's a good point. I assumed you are. Are you still
Uh,
running that? Have you changed?
I am, but I definitely am going to. Well, I was gonna cut in half, but since you said two or three, I will go down to two or three.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds great. And there's one, I guess, while we're talking about sizing and general rules to like think about. Um, yeah, the goal of this whole thing, there'll definitely be a lot of, I mean, rules more or less. But if you commit to them, we will be here each week and reviewing. If you show up at this time, this Thursday, we're gonna do Thursday, 7:30 EST. And definitely, everybody's going to do what they're going to do. But ultimately, if you stick to things and stay transparent and follow your own rules that like we agree on, I think you'll love the results. So that was a great question on sizing, 100%. Um, and then yeah, we're gonna get into
Hey,
number two.
hey, I got something to add real quick. Hey,
Okay.
Ligam, so the reason why we reduce you all the way down is so you learn how to lose and start learning about your strategy, right? Because we're going to base the strategy from the videos that you've seen already and what you learned from your past. Because, like I've told everybody, we can all have the same strategy, like Brandon's strategy, but our brains and our eyes will pick up different patterns on the chart differently. So we're gonna start to get you to learn learn your system deeper and deeper, and then create rules that will keep you consistent. And the rules are pretty much like a SOP, right? Standard operating procedures. Every successful business has a standard operating procedure. The failed businesses never created a standard operating procedure. And not only that, it's going to keep you safe from blowing up your account or going on tilt. And these rules are specifically created in a way to prevent you from going on tilt. Because once you're on tilt, it's like uncontrollable rage, and you just want to revenge trade. You want to make your money back, whatever the case is. And those rules is what keeps you from getting there. And then once you learn that, then we're going to create rules because there's trading rules for the strategy, and then there's trading rules for like you personally, right? Like if you
Yeah.
take two red losses, cut it for the day. Cut it for the day. If you take um your max loss, cut it for the day. It's more like a psychological trick to get you to the step where you're consistent, right? I came up with, I don't know if I came up with it, but I just got the idea of a daily goal, right? So your daily goal is going to be $50 with two micros or whatever you guys agree on. And then once you hit your daily goal, you're going to cut it and then jump over to Sim and trade that if you feel like taking trades. Because in all honesty, the most trades you should be taking is probably like five a day. Like there will be a bunch of setups, right? But like Toad said last season, is he found his time zone. He found his little time window that his setup worked the best. And that's where you're gonna start to realize and see, like, okay, if I'm gonna trade this strategy, it only works in the morning, or it only works in the afternoon, or it only works after hours. And then after that, because I heard you say that you're not comfortable combining the fizz with the moving averages with price action, support and resistance levels. What we're also going to teach you is how to, because that's something that Brandon always taught us is stack catalyst, right? You don't want to just go in with one. making it a subjective trade, right? Getting in because it hit a level. You want an objective trade where this looks like this, the price action looks like this, the moving averages look like this, the fib levels look like this. Okay, it's coming to my support level or resistance level. I can get in or whatever. And that's where we're going to get you up to. So we're going to take it slow at first, and then we're going to teach you how to scale up. So by the end of the 10 weeks, you're going to scale up from 2 contracts all the way to 8 to 10 contracts. And then eventually into the minis, hopefully. Yeah, we'll get there.
100%. No one says it better. I mean, that absolutely. You got any questions on that so far, Liam?
No, no, no. I wanted to let him finish. I didn't want to say anything. But no, I
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Semper. Thank you. And it's funny because I one of the videos I watched from Gia like this week was profitable things to do, and one of them was like creating a trading plan or a system, I guess, with the plan, right? And he outlines it, and I started doing it, like how many trades I should be taking a day, which was like five, and max losses and how much money, like what, if I do lose, how much do I want to stop at and walk away? And I think a big part of it is going to be like me just being like getting up and like literally walking away or like closing the charts out or because I am 100% like at heart, like I'm a gamer, right? I grew up playing video games. I'm competitive, so like if I can't beat something or if I can't win something or I'm not at a certain rank, then I got to go back and keep trying and get better. And like, so I feel I feel like that's bleeding over into my trading a little bit. So I just need to for sure like cut it off, like 100% cut it off. Because I've had days where a lot of my losing days I've been green and then I'll be red and I'll be like big red. So for sure, for sure.
That makes sense. Then that's exactly some stuff we should come out of this meeting with. Well, actually, I'll wrap up since I'm looking at my agenda here. I think what we're talking about is I mean, number one, you gotta go slow. Number two, follow your psychology, and number three, follow a system and your rules, like Semper's saying, an SOP. What do you have? So far, then we should look at your psychology rules. What psychology rules do you have? Because I think getting up after getting up after bad trades, taking a walk around, taking note of what your mind state is. It can be tough. Like, I mean, one of my rules is like when I can tell I'm angry, I will stop trading. And then it's like, how do you define that? So what written down rules do you have for your psychology that you want to make sure you follow for this whole season at least, and hopefully for the future too, unless you change them?
Yeah, I think, well, and I agree. I think it's something that I'm going to probably try to stick by. Um, But I do have like five max trades for sure. My max loss like numerically for trades is three. But I feel like maybe with that it should be like three back to back. I don't know if maybe like if I lose one and then I go green on the next one, if it's good or bad. Because like you said, Toad, like if we're like revenge traders and we lose one and then we trade and we go green, then we're like, all right, we'll keep trading and then we go red again. Like it could be bad. So maybe I just need to like keep it at three, like three no matter what. Doesn't matter if they're back to back or not. Three losses, and I should just quit for the rest of the day. Try to sim trade.
Okay.
Because I don't want to stop looking at the charts. I feel like the chart time is like huge. Um, Another one is and I Semper said it too, like I shouldn't be looking for trades, they should be coming to me. Somebody had put a post up about like what was your number one thing when you learn to trade, become profitable, blah blah blah. And like the most upvoted comment was going into every trading day, not expecting to have any trades at all.
True.
So I it kind of like resonated with me. Granted, like like I said, I'm my worst own enemy because I don't follow what I would teach somebody. So max loss amount, I think in like a dollar amount, if I'm gonna like go for a goal of say, I don't know, if I'm gonna go for a goal of say like $50, I don't know where I should land, but should I have a dollar amount? Like should it be $200 for the day? Like how bad, like how red should it be?
Well, usually for like a small daily goal, I would use like half of that,
Okay.
25. But like
Okay.
I said,
25.
this
I
is
see.
because usually we would start with two minis or two micros on sim account. And since you're doing it on a prop firm, we want you to get more used to it. Because I mean, if you have a $300, that's only like what 8 days, 7 days of trading, and that account is gone. And
Yeah.
then back to the two reds. Like what I had is two back to back reds, and I'm done for the day. Because you're one more trade from going on tilt, and that's one of the worst feelings. Because you're like mad, and then you're revenge trading, and it just causes more bad than good. Um, but also the other thing, because you said, I don't know, if I have one green trade, one red trade, one green trade, that's where your max loss comes into play. Where, okay, do I want to risk the rest of my max loss or save it and preserve it for tomorrow? Because Brandon always says the best trade is preserving your capital. You don't want to just go blow your money.
Yeah.
Uh, you want to get experience because you want to get the screen time. And to that point, I know after hours sucks, and it sucked for me for a long time, but that's where I develop my candle development, like how they develop around my levels, because it goes so slow coming into your level that you're gonna start to see like, okay, this candle's going up and down, or it's staying more at the bottom coming into my level. So you're gonna start to be able to identify what a strong candle is versus a weak candle. Because when it's live, at 6:30, those candles whipsaw back and forth, up and down, and it's hard to tell if it's a strong candle or a weak candle
Yeah.
because it's moving so fast. But if you can capture that in the after hours where it's really, really slow, um, you're gonna start to see the characteristics of a strong candle and the characteristics of a weak candle. And I think Shamaya has his hand up. He'd like to add something.
It's Pat, bro.
Shmation, yeah.
Shmay, shmay. No, I was just, I don't know. I like that what you guys are saying about the daily goal and then hitting it and stopping. I mentioned in the chat earlier, I've been playing with the idea of like if you're passing a prop firm and you're above your daily goal and you want to risk the excess of above your daily goal. So say like, you got a 50K account, you got to make 3,000 to pass it. You want to pass it within the month, not, uh, you know, but repay a fee or whatever. If there is a fee on your prop firm, you want to make whatever, 200 a day and pass it, or 300 a day. If you get above your daily goal, and I mean, I found with three micros, you can really have a wider stop loss and still make decent money. But if you if you're above your daily goal and you got that end of day trailing drawdown, you know what I mean? You could always risk what you're above counts money at that. That's kind of how I'm looking. Is like, say you're above by $100, you want to risk that extra $100 to take another trade, and then if you lose it, just stop. Or if you want to lock it in, just lock it. Like that's the decision I made today because I was just busy and I didn't see the trade, so I just locked in what I had. But
Right.
it's just an idea for you if you're trying to pass another prop firm because I'm doing the same thing. So it's kind of how
Yeah.
I'm looking at that end of day trailing.
Yeah, I think that's a cool conservative way of handling that. You know, it's like a nice, as long as you can control yourself when you're back down to your daily goal.
Yeah. That's 100%. You gotta
Right.
have that. You gotta be able to walk away and know when to stop.
Yeah.
That's gonna be probably, yeah, that'll be probably one of the things that I'm gonna have to for sure like work on, like just mentally. Like I'm pretty, I feel like I was pretty good at like just saying stop for a while, and then weirdly enough, like more recently, I found myself definitely trying to maybe because I just wanted to like trade and just learn and just become better. And maybe that's where I need to like have a sim account to be able to hop over to it once I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
But I think that I was just like in my head, I'm like, well, I'm sitting here staring at charts and like I can like I guess write down trades, but I'm like, I'm not gonna get the real thing out of it. Like I might as well just jump right in and shit, if I blow up an account, then whatever, I'll get the feelings out of it, I'll get the psychology out of it, and I don't know. I guess I guess I've
Yeah.
always learned by doing, and I've always learned by like feeling the actual emotions. But now that I know, right? Now that I've been through some of it and I've lost money and whatever else, like we've all been there. Now that I know, now I know I can go to a sim account and be like, all right, I know what it feels like. Like I feel like, and I could be wrong, and you guys can definitely correct me here, but I feel like somebody who's brand new to trading, who's never traded ever before, um, I don't know if, I mean, I don't know if they're ever gonna get like the feeling of losing through a sim account, but you guys could definitely, because a lot of people seem like they really side with the whole like start off with a sim account, trade it for like a year or two, and then go to like real money, even if it's a prop firm, like go to like, and I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah,
I
I was gonna
yeah.
say, yeah, greed equals giving money back. And the only rule that I suggest that you do if you are gonna be trading sim is trade it exactly how you're gonna trade your live account, how
Yeah.
you're trading your live account. Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna go balls to the wall right here because it's a pullback.
Right.
No, you got to trade it exactly how you trade your normal strategy. You want to say, okay, it's a pullback to my moving average, it's a pullback to my fib or whatever, right? And then, like Brandon would always harp, like at least three catalysts. You at least want three catalysts, three indicators, three drawing tools, whatever you use, to stack up together and then take the trade. If it's less than that, it's probably gonna be a toss up, right? You might get lucky once, but the next time you might get smoked.
Yeah.
Go
True.
ahead, Toad.
True. Well, first, actually, we can hit Papa Roxy's question. You see, you got a hand raised here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm hearing what you guys are saying about the sim, and I'm not sure about how it works for you guys, but it really doesn't feel like it draws enough of the emotion out for me because I think I kind of do what you were saying, Semper, is I'll be on the sim and I'll start trading outside of what my normal would be, right? Oversizing maybe or taking a trade at a location where it normally wouldn't have taken. And for me, it's a bit challenging. I really see the sim as beginners to just understand the tools, how to execute, how to get in, how to get out, how to draw, how to do everything they need to do. And I really feel like you got to have some type of skin in the game. So like the solution in that regard, if I was to take that option, would probably be like just trade one micro then. Still, again, on your setups, on what you need to do, but one micro is really never going to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. So if you're taking a loss and you are actually putting it where it's supposed to be, it'll be so minor. But so will the win, right? But it's at least feeding the itch that you might have. The other thing that protects me, at least, after I've had a successful day or unsuccessful day, regardless. I am trading still Top Steps prop firm. I love on their X platform that they have is the lockout button. I will go right to that lockout button and say lockout for the rest of the day. And I really feel like that's the only way for me to stay disciplined as of right now for where I'm at in my trading journey.
Oh,
Yeah.
just to add to that point, the if you're a more experienced trader, the sim trading after you hit your goal or whatever is not for the emotional part, right? That's more for the strategy part. Okay, this pullback wasn't as strong. It had a higher low or a lower high coming into my level. Maybe I shouldn't play the price action when it creates a lower high coming into my level. I wanted to go up five candles and then three directly down without creating a higher low into my candle. So it's not about the emotional part, but identifying the patterns that work for your strategy. Know what I'm saying? Because there's certain strategies, even though your eyes think that it's the same setup, it's not really the same setup, right? Because sometimes you'll have three huge green candles going up, or sometimes you'll have five candles going up. Two are huge, three are small in the top. What's that saying, right? The buyers are getting exhausted at the top because the green candles got smaller compared to if there's an impulse move where there's two big green candles. The buyers are still not exhausted, so it'll pull back because they're taking profit, and then it'll be small red candles coming down to your level before hitting your level, and then you know that they took profit and they're going to get back in and sweep the previous swing high. And those are things that you should be trying to identify. And that's why I say take your trade exactly how you would take it, no matter what. And this is where journaling comes into play because you want to be able to take a screenshot when you enter the trade, right? And then either during or after your trade. You want to do a before and after, or during and after. So like that, you can when you journal, you could be like, okay, there, what did I do wrong? And we'll walk you through that. When you share your screenshots or your trades, we're gonna be like, okay, well, this time it didn't work because there was a lower high going into your level, into your golden pocket or your moving average, and that showed weakness, right? And especially if there's a break of structure that you didn't see, then that's another catalyst, right? So then there'll be like two catalysts against you on that particular trade, even though you said it was the same setup. Because sometimes we get so tunnel vision on your particular setup, and as a new beginner, you tend to do it a lot. You don't tend to look left. Always look left. Always look to the left. Because once you get too zoomed in, you're gonna get tunnel vision and you're gonna make the wrong trade. But that's what I want you guys to get out of the sim trading is okay. I hit my daily goal. I'm still available to take a couple more trades on sim, but I'm only gonna do them at a particular time because I that's just something that I like. Toe did is that he took all the data of all his trades and he figured was worked the best, and then he only trades those windows.
Totally makes sense. Absolutely, absolutely makes sense. I have no problem hopping into a sim when I'm done trading because I know that I'm still going to be able to work on myself. So that's 100% agreed.
Cool. So maybe let's jump into your strategy, like what you use. Like, okay, I wanted to you want price action to do kind of describe what you look for when you're entering a trade.
Yep. So for a while, I was trading orbs straight up. I was literally just waiting for first 15-minute candle of the day. I wouldn't trade the first 15 minutes. And then I'd mark out the high and the low. I'd wait for it to break and then see if it was going to retest that 15-minute candle and go back into it, or if it was just going to continue. And then I would take a trade basically right from there. Um, my trading rules per se, my quote unquote strategy is not super well defined. Um, I would look for areas that were like to me obvious support or obvious resistance, and to see like how much it would test that area, and then try to basically from like a 15-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute standpoint, go down and take a trade where I thought it was going to start to fail and come back down or bounce. There was a few days, like a couple weeks ago, where I found that it was really going up and down in a certain range, and I had that range marked off, and I would take a trade within that range, depending upon what direction it was going in, and essentially just let it go, set a stop loss, let it go, and then take profit where I could. Of course, that does not work all the time. But that's essentially what I was doing. Was I was kind of trying to watch price action, trying to utilize candles from what I know, like hammers, and trying to learn dojis. As you obviously, Semper, you harp on them a lot, and like I'm trying to learn the dojis more often. Certain patterns, whether it's two, three candlestick patterns, and just really a lot of price action. I was fibbing out. I don't, and I've watched Brandon's video like twice already, and I probably should watch it again because I'm still trying to learn Brandon's fib strategy to also see where when I have like a break of structure or I have it coming back up to a certain area, if it's gonna line up with fibs, is it gonna come down and hit a certain area? Like, so I've been trying to kind of do the two, three confluences thing, but I'm not super good at it. I haven't really like set myself on three different things that I understand 100% and I know exactly how they work and to get them together. So I've really like I think I said it to Toad today too in chat. I've really like trading kind of by the seat of my pants a little bit. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think one thing, so the goal be to come out and you'll have and figure out what those confluences are and what your rules are. That can be kind of hard without using the MACD and the RSI. I do recommend, I don't want to prescribe exactly a system, but I do recommend using the MACD and the RSI um because it's more confluence.
Mhm.
So, what when I did my season, I was looking at a lot of MAs. I use an MA stack. I don't happen to use this one. I do use the 100 actually, but I use mostly EMAs. And but what we looked at for confluence was structure, and then there's the MACD and there's the RSI, and then you have the MAs, you have the structure, and you have the fibs. And it's you got five things there. That when three of them align, you have a grade B, and with five of them align, you can have a grade A. Um, so I don't exactly want to prescribe too much, but I would suggest, if you want more confluence to make it more obvious, you can try using the RSI and the MACD. I think at this point, we'll be looking for to come up with those confluences, and this might be too early right now to exactly pin them down. Um, but one thing that you could do is try those two oscillators just to see if you like them. And then we'll talk in chat just about how this people we use them relatively, how I use them, how Semper uses them, how Brandon uses them. Um,
Yeah, I think so. I was using MACD for a little while for divergences, and then I watched. I think it was one of Brandon's like really earlier videos where he goes over like each of them.
yeah,
Um, I had used TTM squeeze a little bit like a long time ago and didn't really like at the time I don't think I totally understood it either, but that's just it didn't work for me at the time. Um so I'm 100% on board with using whatever. I will throw in MACD and RSI and probably rewatch his videos on them too and probably study them a little bit more. Um I know the 50 obviously is pretty important and what side of it it's on and whether we're in overbought or oversold. So I'll start trying to incorporate them and then just kind of see how they align with um, the MAs and the fibs that I draw. I usually only fib out the 15 because I'm not super confident on doing like other time frames.
yeah,
I'm also trying to still kind of wrap my head around like how the candles interact with like golden pocket and what that means and everything. So
right.
I was really trying to focus on like one thing at a time to get my head to like be like, okay, you understand this, you know how the candles are working with it. Like, let's get something else in here to help you, get a better setup and stuff. So that totally makes sense. So I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me ask, Semper, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think coming out of here? I forget exactly the progression from my episode one, two, three. Should we go ahead and did we usually uh have the participant come in next week with their rules and their system, or did we talk about already having one in my first? What do you think here? Especially with
Uh,
his experience, I think he's a unique case.
yeah, I think kind of like your second system, we kind of already knew your system or your modified system because your first season was way different than your second
Yeah.
season. Um, But usually, what I do is I'll have them take like the first week. I'll have you take as many trades as you want, but you need a promise that hey, you followed your strategy rules. Like it could be 20 trades, right? And we'll compare three green trades, three red trades to see if it's really following his system, right? Because we'll be able to tell if you're following your rules or your system or you're not. So we're kind of like a AA meeting, right? We're gonna hold you accountable to the rules that you set, right? The question that I wanted to ask just to make sure is, do you know what confirmation is and what it looks like? Because I think that was one of the hardest things for me when I first started with Brandon. Um, was trusting the confirmation. You know,
Mm.
when do you know when to trust the confirmation?
I
And
am not
first
good with
off,
it. I'm definitely not good with confirmation because I second guess myself all the time with things. And I would say more than likely and then not, like I see things and I'm like, yeah, I could probably do this or something, and then like I won't do it and it'll go the way that I thought it was, or vice versa. I'll say, oh, I'm for sure this is perfect. This is gonna be, and then I'll take it and it'll go red. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely not good with confirmation at all.
No, but as long as you know like the basics, right? Because the way that Brandon teaches confirmation is, or even with the fibs or the moving average, right? It's if the first break through that level, whether it's a price level, whether it's a fib level, whether it's a support zone, resistance zone, whatever it is, whatever kind of level you have.
Hmm.
The confirmation part is the back test of it, right?
Right.
And just like I stated earlier, you want the back test to be um, quick. You want it to be quick, and you don't want a pattern creating before it hits your level after it busted through that level. Like I said, you don't want it creating, if you're going long, you don't want the back test to be lower highs coming into your level. Because what most likely will happen is it'll create lower highs instead of just creating a swing high, which is pretty much straight up, straight down, right? Where what happened is if it goes up and then it creates another lower high and then it hits your level, what it's gonna do, it's gonna stop you out, it's gonna wick you out, take your liquidity and the liquidity from that lower high that was previously created and then go up to where you know it's gonna go.
We saw this today, LigaM. Do you remember Mark's trade?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is exactly what happened to him. All right. He was in a trade. He saw the structure break. We were getting price action slowed down a little too much. We started getting a lower high here or there, like in the 1 minute chart, and then it's swept down right to his stop. We got the fresh low, and then it continued on structure. That's like exactly what the confirmation, if I understand it right, and please, interject, Semp, if I don't. But the confirmation, right, is that in the moment analysis of the price action and how it's interacting to tell you whether you should even continue getting in your trade. Because one, I mean, that'll help you get into good trades, right? You can look at the confirmation at your level. I mean, you can see here, let's jump into your chart, and with the last like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes here, we can come up. I don't want to prescribe too much. You can change the rules or whatever, but try to trade one whole week, like Semper's saying, take as many trades as you want. Stop at make a daily goal. Try stopping at your daily goal for at least a week. If you're surpassing your daily goal consistently, then do what Patrick suggests and risk your excess, right? Um, but yeah, that confirmation is that in the moment analysis is going to get you into better trades, and you can get you out of trades that are going to be losses or too risky. Because if you start not, if you can trust your intuition, if you can trust your judgment, And if you've been trading the same system and you have intuition around your system, you can tell when you're in a trade and it might not be working out. Now, a lot of times it might work out anyway. It might just shy your stop. But those other times where you're like, oh, this is acting funny, I think it's going to hit my stop. You can actually just get out of the trade for break even, put your entry at your stop, and boom, now you've secured yourself even more profit and you stayed in the trade. And that's some stuff you can learn with confirmation. But if you zoom back out, actually, so we can see the start of this day, you see, all right, see, you've got the 1050. And are you able to throw on, could you throw on the MACD and the RSI and the indicators? I don't know what kind of trading view plan you have.
Yeah, I'm on
Um,
the basic one. I can remove something though. I remove the 666 if you want.
oh, you've got a limit. You've got like what, a five limit?
Oh, I just spoke and I didn't have. I think I'm muted.
No worries.
Yeah, I'm on a 5 limit right now.
Okay, I see.
I can up
Then
it though. I can either up it or I mean either or whatever.
You can do the I try the RSI, right, and just try the just add the RSI. I would recommend, I do think the during Black Friday you might as well get the premium plan with TradingView because it's like barely more expensive than the other ones.
Hmm.
But the MACD, I already know what the MACD is saying. I'm sure the MACD on the wall, I'm sure it was green. I'm sure the 5 minute MACD was green, and then I'm sure when we washed it flipped. And maybe on that retrace, maybe that back tested the MACD, maybe it just barely started flipping, but then on the dump it went back down, and then eventually the MACD turned green, probably on that structure break. So I'm not too worried about the MACD, but the RSI here on the 5 minute, you can already see some stuff. And for a grade A trade, you'd ideally want to be with structure. But if you look here, you can see that nice RSI divergence at right at open. Um, actually, before right there, where RSI made a lower high and price made a significantly higher high. So today, for example, you saw the screenshots. I was talking about it before we opened. And do you see what I'm talking about by that divergence exactly?
Yeah, so you're talking in the early part instant divergence, so we went way up here and it
Uh-huh.
wasn't on here, it wasn't quite as pronounced. Is that what you were?
No, I mean actually, so we went way up there, right? And then we had that tiny little pullback, and then we went higher on price. Went even higher, but RSI did
Oh,
not go
RSI
higher.
did not follow it all the way back up here. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So that's divergence right there. Price makes a higher high, but the indicator doesn't. Um, and you can also see the opposite divergence, right? You can see some bullish divergence. So you see the first dump and then the bullish pullback and then the second dump. Do you see the divergence there?
Yeah, because this didn't really go down much. This didn't go. This did.
Actually, a little further. So the RSI a little further. They're lower low. Yeah, right there. But you see on the RSI, that's a higher low.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Compared to the 930, yeah, compared to that one, the two lowest. Oh, go
Hmm.
ahead, Papa Rocks.
I was gonna say, you mentioned your strategy as of right now is the orb, 15-minute orb, right?
Right
Hmm.
now, not ex oh, is it for you? Like you using that consistent?
That was my primary thing, just
And
because I would. Sorry, go ahead, Papa.
I was just say, to me, when I'm thinking about like a 15-minute orb, I think I'm not sure how much the RSI would be helpful in regards to that. Like, if you don't mind putting this on the 15-minute, I love how Toad's going through this right now, but with the RSI, and I'm on like the 5 minute, this whole thing, this looks great. But on the orb, you'd be looking for a retest, obviously, of that break, right? Right down there at the bottom, and a retest coming
Right.
back up, and a continuation,
Right.
where RSI is just going to be showing you like whatever direction you were going anyways, and not going to kind of help you. I think the MACD, when he was talking about MACD, that might be more helpful for you when if you're sticking to the orb strategy only, though.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah, and I
mean?
think
Like, Justin, I don't know if that is what you're honing in on and you're trying to improve. I'm just looking at it in reference to that itself. Although I agree with Toad, the RSI is a great indicator to see if you can somehow implement into whatever strategy you're looking for as an extra confluence point.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with the orb is that it was just kind of an easy thing to follow. However, like a day like today,
You got ripped.
I would have gotten destroyed, right?
Yeah,
Like, I
exactly.
mean, this candle, and I guess maybe, yeah,
You would have.
I probably would have gotten destroyed because it would have retested like partially, and so a day like today isn't very conducive to it. So
Oh,
I probably moving forward should follow something else that's a little more conducive to than just the orb. But you guys can obviously guide me on that.
Yeah, so I stepped away for five. So I might have missed the part where you said you were specifically focusing on the orb. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't I mean the orbs are great. The only problem is like, it's the first it's very strict in like you have to wait for the orb to be formed and stuff. Um, but I mean, so we're pretty much coming towards the end here. I think we could prescribe a whole system, or you could figure more out on your own. I think pointing out the RSI was like pointing out one piece of confluence that you could note. If you swap back to the five, I'll point out another one, presuming that you kind of sound like you aren't. You'll keep the orb in the pocket, but it doesn't. But you're willing to move away from it so you can get perhaps more setups and stuff. Um, so another thing here on this confirmation, right, you see this five. What was it? You got the 10, yeah, and the 50 here. Um, But let's do structure. So if you zoom in, can you identify after the dump, right? So the dump, there was a good trade at the top, and there was confluence. The RSI was a piece of confluence, and the all-time high gap up was another piece of confluence. So there was some confluence on that trade, but let's say you didn't take that trade. That's a slightly more advanced trade, and then you see that the market is short, right? There's a giant dump right out the front. You see it's short. There's nothing, there's no two ways about it. Now you could have taken that GP short. It's a shied the 100. Um, you didn't get to the SMA 50, which is weird. We didn't get back to the 50, but you shied the 100, you back tested 200, you shied the 50, but you did hit the GP. You could have taken it. I don't even think we hit the 161, but we did hit that 261, whatever you have there. Right? So that was a great ultimate target, that 261. And some more other targets you should look at and always consider are yesterday's metrics, yesterday's high, low. So the bottom of today was also around yesterday's highs. So we gave back the whole gap, so that's something to think about. But let's say we're past all that. Can you identify where the structure break was when it finally became not short?
Yeah, so looking at it from a 5 minute perspective, uh, I would say like probably like right around here.
Yeah, that's a fair 100% it became not short.
Yeah,
That's a
because
fair.
this would be kind of like a fake out to me. I would probably not be confident taking it. I mean, obviously we're going up here, but then we really dip back down a lot. So I feel like
Mhm.
here would be more, and of course, it wasn't super straightforward.
And now here's some more confluence with your MAs. With your MAs, you're gonna have to learn how they interact. And the 100, one piece about the 100 is it's often like a strong over under. So what we got there was certainly a structure break for sure on that higher high. That was definitely a structure break, and we got a break. That one right there, like two or three candles after your mouse, pretty much like there, right? And we broke that. I mean, that right there, that little hump was The structure break, we broke over the 100, we broke over the 200, we back test the 100, we back test the structure. I mean, that was a beautiful little long, and that right there is the most confirmed trade. I mean, that you get the structure break, your trend is definitely upward. And the most confirmed trade is going to be the one you have to wait the longest on. It might not have the best points, but it's going to be probably the most probable. So if you really are just sitting waiting for a trade, right, and you want to sit and take the best trade, doing something like that is definitely it. I mean, the big players, they bet last and they bet big. So, often anyway, not always. So, and then you can think about, so that right there would be a great, and then we're picking out Confluence. If you do want to upgrade to the whatever, you can do that. Or what I like to do is actually on the chart I'm trading with, I have the MAs, and then on Trading View I have other stuff. So you can swap your MAs and you won't have to upgrade Trading View. But yeah, so right there, that trade where you identified the structure break, right? And it's easy from hindsight, but in the moment, if you're clear-minded enough. All right, so what confluence do you have? You have number one structure break, the most important part, 5 minute structure break. All right, you have the confluence of you got the 10-50 cross where the 10 crossed over the 50. You've got the upward sloping of the 50. You've got the break of the 100 and the back test of the 100. You've got the RSI in the top channel. You got the RSI back testing the average line, like the yellow. You have the purple back testing the yellow. And I'm sure the MACD is crossed up. I mean, that's like 7, 8 pieces of confluence to take a trade. And then here's what I like to do. And you're gonna the most important thing, you want to make rules, and we'll ask you your rules. Run out of time now to write them all down, but next week we can ask your exact rules, your psychology rules, your trading rules. Even if being too strict is costs you and makes things difficult, it's something you can build on and you can edit your rules a little bit. Like I don't like going with a daily goal. I like a daily goal, but I like surpassing my daily goal because I just want to keep trading. But it was important for me to make the daily goal so that I saw how I operated within that structure so that I could build upon it. Um, so here we can perhaps leave with one thing I can recommend. We like talked about those confluences. You can look at the MACD, you can pick out your confluence you want. Generally, three for a grade B, five for a grade A. You can use 1 minute structure breaks too. But here's something I'm just gonna recommend and leave you with for fibs is that you identified the structure break. Now what would you try fibbing out? What leg would you fib out? If have you ever heard of fibbing out the structure break? Have you ever heard of
No,
that?
that I have not done.
Okay, so but you know what a leg is, right? In price action.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So you identified the structure break, the higher high. Try what would you call the leg that broke the structure? Like the sequence of candles. Actually, I'm not gonna make it a rhetorical question because you might have no idea. Like I'm just gonna. Um, I would call personally the top, right? So you know the top there that of that actually when it made the higher high. I would personally fib all the way from the top of that candle, the high of that candle, to the low of the first consecutive green candle that started that before there was a big red. Right, so the top of that candle to arguably that one, maybe the bottom of that big one that you just had, or maybe the bottom of that tiny green one after the big red scary candle. So yeah, you can try a fib and go to the top of that red one, or the green one, actually, my mistake. We were on the same page and I misspoke. Yeah, that one, and then either, oh, your fibs go backwards. That's funny. Um,
That's a me thing because I was going from right to left instead of left to right. So that's why we're
Right,
backwards.
right. So, and then yeah, maybe the bottom of that green. I mean, sure, right, like, and then because that's definitely the leg that broke structure. And then if you look at that, look at where price action pulled back to, right into the golden pocket of that
Um,
leg. Yeah, this is actually exactly my golden pockets are golden. It pulled right into the golden pocket of that leg, right to the 100. It formed a small red doji, right? And then you get a strong green candle. And look at that green candle. It took no heat. It took no heat at all. Do you know what green candle I'm talking about? I should be actually drawing. I'm pretty sure I can. I don't know where my
this one?
tools are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you should
that
be able
one.
to draw.
Yeah, that one. I actually normally my tools are right on my screen, so I don't even think about it. But yeah, right there. So that it pulled back to the fit. You got the structure break. That's confirmation one. You got the break over the 100. You got the RSI. It pulled right back to the GP. It made a small red candle. Like that's a beautiful trade. Um, so that kind of stuff is like using your system, what you already have, what you already know with the MAs, with the fibs, with the structure break. Throw in the RSI, throw in the MACD, and yeah, go this week. Try to only take trades, take as many as you want, but try to only take trades only if they fit at least three criteria. If they fit three criteria, take two micros, and if they fit five, take three micros. Just to start off, like I said, you build around a system, so then you kind of it's why you have it's why I think it's important to stick to a system no matter is because then you can start learning the nuance and you can start learn the rules so you can break them sort of thing. So
Or
that's
learn the characteristics of your system and how price action reacts
yes.
to your levels.
Got it. Understood. Yeah, and I will write it down this week too, Toad. I may even work with you a little bit, but I'll try to
Yeah.
write everything down, like the confluences I'm going to look for, and I really want to get. I'm a very much like automated person in my head, so I definitely would like to like have it all set in stone, so I'm not like in the middle of something and like trying to trade, but I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to use this or not. Like, I want to just be
Yeah.
like I want to try to be as clear cut as possible with myself because I know I can get way too much off topic and start trying to trade other things where I'm like, that's not part of the system. So,
Hey,
Yeah.
Liga, just for now, let's keep the RSI and the MACD out.
okay.
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 Because Toad went over like 5 or 6 confluences and he didn't even use Mac or RSI for now, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fine.
so just trade it how we just showed you with the fibs and the confluence with the moving averages. And then once we start getting in deep, knee deep or head deep into the price action, you're going to start to see different things. We're gonna open up your eyes or and help train your brain to look for certain candles. Like I always say, dojis. Dojis are like since the beginning of BRT elites, Brandon has stressed dojis, gaps, high range candles, and floaters. I think floaters comes before high range candles. But one of the things that I in the last 2 or 3 weeks that I love are those high range candles, especially if there's a small green or a small candle right next to it. Because that shows that the market buyers or the market makers came into the market. So we're gonna slowly start to show you, okay, this is what you should look for, or let's look for this imbalance. Wait for that imbalance to get filled, and then you get in because that's when you'll have the easiest and the most probable trade to take. So for now, just let's keep it simple. If you need something else to help you or guide you, then we'll add other tools. But we want to kind of strip down your strategy to the bare minimum and then add to it. So like that, we can teach you how to use each individual indicator or drawing tool, uh, how to use it, and then we're gonna show you how to stack it with the moving averages. Kind of like how just Toad had you fib, and then it stacked with the moving averages, and then stacked with the breaker structure. That three alone, that can help you take a trade. And it literally doesn't take that. It doesn't take that long. And
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been getting a lot of questions asked, like, well, how do we create a system, or how do we create rules around these strategies? Or can you help me? Can you help me create a system around these strategies? And that's what we're gonna help you guys do. And that's anybody following along on the video 10 years from now, 2 years from now. We're walking. If you follow along the with the process that we're putting Liga through, you're gonna be able to create your own system. And the system is not a strategy. The system is the rules and the procedures that you use to take trades on your strategy, uh, or using your strategy. And then
100%.
and then as you get better, and this is what I've told, because I've trained Easy, who used the 1050 cross and then who later went on to ICT. Um, Lasagna Cat, who used the fibs a different way than when we were taught way back when the fibs Burley were introduced to us by Brandon. Now we trade them way differently, but it's still kind of the same concept. Um, and as you learn more systems, you're gonna start to to just realize that all the systems stack up at one point or another. The GP stacks up with the fair value gap. The fair value gap lines up with the moving average. The moving average lines up with whatever else, support, resistance, demand zones, supply zones. They all stack up. And you're gonna come to realize that it doesn't matter. It's just what system you resonate with, and what system or what strategy helps you see the chart the best. After that, you slightly modify, because from the beginning till now, we've totally revamped up, remodified all our strategies, even from the beginning of the year till now.
Yeah.
And that's something that you'll come to realize, that you need to adapt with the market, or else you're gonna fucking fail. Yeah, keep up the good work, keep trading, trade hard, and then ask questions. No, the only stupid question is the one that you don't ask.
100%.
Got it.
All right. We will wrap it up there then. 100%. Wrap it up there. I think next week, yeah, come in with psychology rules and system rules.
Okay.
All right, we'll
And
end the recording there. Thanks, everyone.
yep.